Hello, it's good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dune team, for giving us this opportunity to speak in front of us and giving me the speaker slot right before lunchtime. So it's going to be the most exciting time. Hello, I'm Daniel Kim. I'm the CEO and founder of Tiger Research. Tiger Research was founded in 2021. We're a research and consulting company providing business and knowledge advisory for projects and enterprises trying to do business in Asia. We focus on two things, Asia and blockchain. So we're one of those niche firms that try to win in this market. We're proud to serve companies like Animoca Brands, WorldCom Foundation, Solana, Polygon, and Kaya Foundation. Other than our research and consulting business, we're mostly known for our weekly newsletter, which is read by over 5,000 daily readers, 50,000 monthly readers, which get published over 100 countries. We're frequently published in Bloomberg and Forbes, but we're also frequently searched on your favorite AI tools like Perplexity and OpenAI. Today, I'm going to talk about three things. One is we're going to go over why Asia really matters by looking at the macro statistics and the general data sets that why we think Asia is important and why we should be focusing on in this place where we stand right now. Second is we're going to connect that into on-chain data, which we been helped by using the Dune tool sets, and see what's behind and dissect what is really happening and what are the behavioral patterns of the Asian users in Web3. Lastly, we're going to make recommendations about what's an ideal approach to making an action or go-to-market strategy in the Asian market. Before I start, I want to thank Jay Joe, who kind of helped me build this long slide for over a month. So first, like general things, Asia is a really diverse but also a very fragmented market. There's approximately 2,300 languages spoken in this Asia. So unlike people from European Union or United States, there's no single language or culture that go past this Asia region. There's also over 6+ ethical groups that companies divide on their behavioral patterns of purchasing things or paying things or spending their activities at home. So for instance, people in Korea, they use KakaoTalk to message your friends, then they use KakaoTalk to book a meeting with them, and they use Neighbor Pay or Toss to pay to their favorite merchants or shops. Whereas in Thailand, Line is the most popular messenger apps, and there are different apps and applications that people use for their daily activities. Last is, there's over 48+ regulatory jurisdictions that governs the laws of how you can perform and what you can do with blockchain or exchanges or listing or so on whatsoever. So there's not really a one-stop solution for entering into Asia or covering Asia as a business or project or protocol that you're building up. So it's a very diverse market, but also very fragmented, which I feel there's a lot of opportunities if you have the right strategy. Asia is also leading the global economic growth. Generally, Asia, there's about 60% of the global population resides in Asia, led by the large population in India and China. And also, Asia has a relatively young median age. The median age of Asia is about 33.3, which is 5 to 10 years younger than the median age of European Union or United States. In particular, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines are a really young young country where the median age is around mid-20s to late 20s. Asia also leads the the growth of the global GDP by 3.4% year-over-year growth, which is approximately 34% of today's global GDP. If you compare the growth pace or how fast Asia is growing, currently North America is growing about 1.7%, whereas Europe is growing 1.3% year-over-year. So you can see how Asia has so much of a potential young population and a large population where you can really thrive and win your business. Putting that perspective into crypto, according to AAA data, around 58% of the global crypto users are living in this land. That's about 320 million people. Also, according to GitHub, registered developers, around 50 million plus developers are registered on GitHub as an active developer on. Some interesting data about central exchange data. So among the top 5 most traded currency over virtual assets or crypto, Korean won and Japanese yen are on the 2nd rank and the 4th rank on the global currency. Time to time, Korean won surpassed US dollar, especially in Q1 2024, on the actual volume traded in the crypto world for fiat. If you dissect Binance's web traffic, 51.2% of the people that is entering into Binance.com are from Asia. And lastly, around 51.6 million people, developers, are registered on GitHub, which is larger than the total number of developers combined of North America and European Union. There's one unique thing about how Asian people interact on applications. It's consumer apps. If you count the number of unicorns that has listed in the stock exchange from 2010 to 2020, around 41% of the unicorns in Asia are consumer applications, like your daily payment apps, your healthcare apps, or your messenger apps. It's a consumer application. Whereas in the United States, only 18% of the listed unicorns are consumer application, and it's 23% in the European Union. So as you can see, Asia truly has a consumer-first approach with its digital native culture, young demographics, and high-paced, innovative IT infrastructures. One last thing I want to highlight about the uniqueness of Asia is super apps. How many of you have flown in here from either Europe, Africa, North America, or Latin America? Put your hands up. Oh, that's about 40%, I think. I just had a really nice talk with Brunette from Nibur Chain, and she was from Canada, and she said there's not really a super app culture in Western worlds, or at least in Canada, and that is right. Compared to that, in Asia, each country has a super app where consumers or just common people access the application every day to do their almost everything, from banking to payments to healthcare to whatever things that you kind of require on a daily basis. For example, it's WeChat or Weixin, Alipay or Sufubao or Baidu in China. In Korea, it's Kakao. In Japan and Thailand, it's Line. And in Vietnam, it's Momo and Zillow. So the adoption of Web3 has great potential when it meets this kind of super app. A good example is the proliferation of Tone ecosystem. We counted the number of unique active wallets on Tone ecosystem, and starting from April 2024, the number of users at Tone made a disruptive growth, and it's because they have truly embedded and combined the Tone ecosystem to our Telegram chats, which we daily use, at least in this community. So that's kind of about the general macros about Asia, and why does it really matter to us who are builders, who are investors, who are participating in the community, in the Web3 or the blockchain space? So we spent about a month starting after we got an invitation from Dune. We thought there must be a behavioral pattern of Asian users that is unique to Asia. So we first categorized on-chain data, a lot of on-chain data, into sleeping hours. So for example, we had a thesis that people mostly trade on their non-sleeping hours, and then when they sleep, they try not to trade or do activities. But that was not enough because there was a lot of false data, because some people sleep late, some people are living in different time zones. So we used 4 different filters to kind of filter that out and make the probability quite more accurate. One is we used third-party wallet data like Etherscan or Accom to see whether our thesis made sense. We also used Dune's label data sets to see if our data are accurate. We also used weighted average of regional traffics, web traffics, into certain exchanges or certain decentralized exchanges, and so on. So a great example that we found out is that example of how regulation amendment or update impacts the activity of on-chain users. So in 2022, around March, I think, Japanese government, through Japanese financial services institution, they updated the Payment Services Act. Japanese Payment Services Act gives authority to stablecoin participants or issuers to be accepted as a government vehicle for paying things in Japan. So that announcement was happened on 2022 second quarter, and it took about 1 year to actually the law gets implemented. And on the time when the law was implemented, there was a lot of airdrop activities of Japanese yen-denominated stablecoins. For example, Astar worked with JPYC to airdrop about $15 worth of Japanese yen-denominated stablecoins to people who have moved their assets to JPYC. So there was a certain surge of activities and volume on about a year after the law was amended. However, if you see on the right side, the actual volume and count gradually decreased, and around like where we stand today, the actual volume of Japanese yen-denominated stable coins does not really be interesting anymore. So a lot of people here around us, we care a lot about regulations. We get influenced a lot by regulations. But if you look at the on-chain data powered by Dune, we can actually dissect whether these regulatory changes make a real impact to our daily usage, or how is it really moving the market. Despite there's a little bit of less than expected activities on Japanese yen-denominated coins, generally, Asian stablecoin ecosystem is growing. For example, in 2020, there was not really an active stablecoin payment volume that is happening in the Asian market. But starting from 2022, the actual growth of the stablecoin market has grown in Asian markets. In particular, there's an increasing number of local currency-denominated stablecoins that has been launched in Asian markets. Places like Singapore and with XSGD, and in Indonesia with XIDR. We personally believe that there will be an increasing amount of locally denominated stablecoins increasing in the market that is closely working with the central banks of each jurisdiction to enable stablecoin payments and cross-border payments in this region. We also found that Asian developers are making a lot of contribution to the Web3 and blockchain space. If you go back to 2020, the number of smart contracts that is deployed in Asia on Gorel and Sepolia Ethereum testnets was barely seen. But if you're starting from 2022, the actual number of smart contracts deployed in Asia on these testnets increased dramatically, and is now way over the smart contracts built out even from North America or Europe. Even on the Ethereum mainnet, Asia did not really make a big impact. Only barely 4% of smart contracts built in 2022 were from Asia, and 70%, the majority, were from Europe. However, now Asia is competing or working with shoulder to shoulder with other regions in number of smart contracts developed on Ethereum. We also looked at Uniswap. What is the behavioral patterns of Asians in Uniswap? As most of us know, Asian market there are different types of jurisdiction that is regulated differently in Asian markets. There's more progressive and liberal states like Singapore, or there's more restrictive and protective regions like China, and there's very unique regulatory environments happening in Korea and Japan. But generally, the activities on Uniswap, among them, Asian users have increased throughout the past 4 years. But one interesting thing that we found that is in 2020, the actual traders or investors on DEXs from Asia were majority driven by shark investors. We categorize shark as people who are trading less than $50,000 per volume. But if you look at 2024, the actual Asian investors using Uniswap now are majority is driven by retail investors or so-called shrimp investors, people who invest less than $10,000. So what we can see from this data set is that increasing number of retail investors, our common investors, are increasingly going on-chain, out from the centralized exchanges to decentralized exchanges to enjoy the benefits and the freedom and on the decentralized world. We also looked at social data. Farcaster is a Web3 social medium. And we kind of accept that in Web3, the universal language we speak is English. But if you look at the data, starting from March 2023, there were increasing number of posts and activities that is happening in the language of Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And if you look at the engagement rates of these Asian users, has always been higher than the North American or European users starting in March 2023. And the number of posts, which we categorize as CAS, has also driven by Asian users. So if I were a Web3 social media or vehicle founder, I would actually focus a lot to Asian users. That's kind of be a rational. Kind of coming to an end of the slide, 3 things I like to make it a key takeaway. One is, according to what we have analyzed and we have looked through, we strongly believe and strongly convicted that Asia is driving the Web3's growth in this world in 2024. And we think that's going to continue at least for 2-3 years with the young demographics, large population, and fast digital growth. Second is, Asian market is very fragmented or diverse. So there is no one can fit all kind of approach will make sense for any of the project or founders that are listening to this presentation today. So know your customers, build your strategies, talk to your local partners and local representatives about how you can truly win and truly engage with Asian community of your choice. And lastly, we highly recommend to take a look at your own on-chain data. There are so much secrets and magics that could happen when you look at the patterns of your users who are residing in Asia or beyond even Asia. It's like that's my last slide, but we write a lot about Asia, country-level reports and project-level reports, so please feel free to subscribe. It's free, so it's going to give you a lot more insights to do business in Asia. Thank you very much, and I look forward to chatting with you all. Thank you very much.